Yeah. All right. We are back here, guys, and we're here to bring you the 4th issue of Spirits of Vengeance, series or mini series, actually, that at least I've been enjoying a whole bunch. I know a couple other people that have been as well, by writer Victor Gischler. And I guess Jeremy ended up getting back to me, I don't know, a few weeks back, saying that he used to write a bunch of older Marvel comics and stuff. Like he hasn't
No, I
done a
know.
whole bunch of work
Remember,
recently, but
remember, I was telling you that after we got off that time, and I was like, I did know that I realized that he did a long X-Men run.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
like, damn it.
yeah. So
He's a good
you
X-Men
know,
run too.
the one thing I will say is that like sometimes when they're out of it, like a writer's out of it for a while and then they come back, it's usually like it's not always good. And this has
No,
been one of my favorite books, like coming out month, at least as far as the monthly goes.
that's a
Um,
raw deal on comic book roundup.
I know I don't know people's. I think they just don't like the characters, so it doesn't get high ratings. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't really care about the characters. I'm having a whole bunch of fun with the story. I could care less about everyone but Ghost Rider. I like Ghost Rider a little, but I wouldn't call myself a Ghost Rider fan. Like I don't have a shelf of Ghost Rider comics in my basement or anything. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah. So Victor Geschler, right? Written by art by David Baldean.
Well, I don't know, I
Baldeon.
say Baldion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever I see that accent mark, fucks me up. Color artist Andreas Mosa, letterer is VC's Corey Pettit. So our solicit is part 4, War at the Gates of Hell. Necrodamus' forces mean to upset the balance and cause a picture popped up. Decidal rampage not seen since the Old Testament. The drums of war beat louder and louder, and the spirits of vengeance are the only thing standing between the armies of heaven and hell. And I will tell you, the book is actually a hell of a lot more clear cut than the solicit makes it sound. Basically, we start things off with Blade, and I always forget the girl, Damien's sister's name, Satana. It's basically Zatanna with an S, so Satana. And Blade are kind of interrogating this chick they crossed paths with at the end of last issue, who was supposed to be guarding the silver that she just basically willingly gave up to Razan, is it, or Razar?
Razan. I go Razan.
Who is Necrodamus's right hand henchman.
Could be Raisin.
Yeah.
Raisin.
Raisin. That's so not intimidating. But whatever her name is, something between Raisin and Razan, she's basically like, I don't know, I
like a
raisin. Wanted to see what would happen. I didn't know it would bring the end of the world, but saying she's getting fucked over in the end by Necrodamus, so she's willing to play whatever side gives her a better deal, and she's back on the side of good. She's a true scumbag in nature. Basically, I don't know why they had someone like this guarding that shit to begin with, but it doesn't infect my enjoyment of the story. She's a prop, and we move on. Blade and Satana then kind of come to the conclusion they know where to go next. They're going to go visit her father way down in hell. Anyway, we move on there. We check in on Necrodamus, who's popping open. Is he got a nuke, or what does he got?
I don't know. We never get to see what he has in that box.
Yeah.
But he's got some kind of weapon.
He's wedging it open a la Christmas Story. It must be fragile here. But he gets it open and it's glowing. That's why I'm like, well, I initially thought it was just a nuke. But it's glowing on the inside, so maybe this is some more stolen shield tech or something. I don't know, because that stuff's floating all over. I don't know. Anything else you want to add about that? I thought maybe you might know that I forgot something from previous in the story about what they stole, or
no. if it's something I might have forgot it too. I don't remember anybody stealing anything from a military base though.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I don't either. Like she
I
was
have
flying
no.
around on Earth for a while hunting down the coins, but I don't remember her grabbing anything else. But anyway, I misspoke earlier. Before Blade and Satana go to Hell, they have to go visit their lead. Their lead is this elf or this dwarf. He is a demon elf who can hang out in the bottom of volcanoes. They conclude basically he's the only one that would be capable of assembling this weapon from
Well,
that. Go ahead.
that's how Mjolnir was made, in the heart of a sun. But those kind of dwarfs, that's how that he's one of the dwarfs that like Asgardians have make their weapons, and they can live in volcanoes and suns and shit like that. Like the heat doesn't bother them.
Okay. So he's one of these guys. He's literally looks like he's sitting on a volcano recliner.
He does.
Yeah, doesn't he? He basically admits,
He
yeah, he's
does.
like, I made this weapon. Damien Hellstorm is trying to get out of him, kind of slyly, how to destroy what he's made. The saying back, I'm not going to tell you this. Why would I tell you this? It results in a little fight back and forth before he eventually caves to Ghost Rider. They have a fun little back and forth where he's like, "Oh, you think something forged from metal can stop me?" And Ghost Rider is like, "This stuff will burn your soul," or some sweet line he has. Then try me, dwarf, for my fire burns the soul, and the guy starts flipping out. Pretty much my
Oh yeah,
only
yeah, that was dope.
yeah, the only beef with the art in this series for me is the way Ghost Rider, just like his shoulders come up higher than his fucking head in every panel he's always in.
I had a thought about that, and I was like, he's a skeleton inside a biker leathers, so maybe
Yeah.
that's why it looks like that. But even still, it still fucking bothers me. It's
He looks so fucking awesome on the cover every issue, and then you get inside the book,
he
you're like,
does.
Ghost Rider, you need to eat something, or like you look like a little kid with NFL player shoulder pads on here. He looks off the chain, but he's sweet as hell still.
He's got anorexia.
Yeah, so does this dwarf basically gives them the information to go visit Satan at this point, doesn't he?
I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or no,
Because
they decide that they should go talk to their father because he would be that actually is something else. When
they're
yeah,
talking about the covenant here, and they're trying to get out of him why he would betray. Just want to see the earth destroyed.
Yeah, well, they want to know, like, they need to know the history of the covenant, of like why they made this, where it takes place, and all that. And then Satana and Damon figure like who better to ask than someone who was actually there. So they're like, we got to go talk to our father.
Yeah, because he
go
basically
decide to
knows
talk to
all
them
the
first.
ins and outs of the agreement. He would know all the ins
Yeah,
and outs of the agreement, and possibly be willing to give up the information. And if it's something he doesn't know about, they're probably assuming, that he'd help him work something out. I don't know, but we're getting to that. We're back with Necrodamus, who's chatting with basically the representative on the devil's side of the covenant. He's the one that meets Michael the Archangel, and every 1,000 years to agree to renew this covenant. And basically, they're not allowed to even harm each other. From the sound of it, Necrodamus is, however, a human, and he's not bound to the same agreement Archangel and this demon are bound to. So they've got this workaround where Necrodamus, using this weapon he's had crafted, is going to strike down the Archangel to void the covenant and bring, hell on earth and hell to heaven. Hell rules everything. That's what
they find out
is what he
Lucifer.
wants. Here's the point. They're all hanging out at this bar that I think was blown up at the beginning of the story. Isn't this the same bar? It looks like it, kind of. But they're hanging out here. Damien Hellstorm's basically sitting by himself. Satana looks hot when the horns aren't coming out of her head. Um, and they're getting all pissed at Damien because he's formulating a plan but not talking to anybody, like just sitting there by himself. And Satana storms over, wants to know what his deal is, and he's just like, we got to go talk to him. And this is the point they go visit dear old dad.
I like that because she's like, he's thinking. That's what he looks like when he's thinking. She's like, you know what? He's not thinking. He's procrastinating. And she goes over to like yell at him. That was
yeah,
fun.
yeah. You know, nobody knows you better than your sister would, certainly, and she'd definitely call you out. I don't have a sister, but I have a daughter, and that's what happens to me. And she's only 5, so they approach hell. Satan gets basically word they're coming, and they're like, do you want us to release the armies or whatever? And he's like, no, it's just my kids. Let them make their way here. They do. They exchange words back and forth. Satan does eventually reveal he knows about this plan, and he's cool with it. Like, you know, this is his way to take control back after so long of now going by a new name and everything. I don't know. He's up to some shenanigans. He reveals to his kids that he's like, listen, I am ready for this. I have a giant army. Necrodamus is going to strike down Archangel. We're going to storm the gates once the covenant is violated, because heaven will go into this fail-safe mode. And basically not interfere is what it sounds like would happen. Yeah.
They won't be able to come down here. I don't think people will be able to go up there. They'll be gone. And then Lucifer gets everything.
Yeah. So hell would be able to take over like everything but heaven, it sounds like. And heaven's like locking its doors just to, you know, remain in existence is what I understood from it all.
I really like the story of Judas that he told, where Judas thought he was betrayed because he thought he was following somebody that was going to stop the Roman oppression, but instead what he got was a martyr, and that's why he was so pissed. He ratted him out because this guy was not what I thought he was going to be, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting.
And this is a way for Judas to get his ultimate revenge through all the silver that was left behind being assembled into this weapon and blah, blah, blah. So it all really kind of comes together from the beginning of the story, like in a really cool way. Like all the pieces are connected. There's no moment towards the end of this where you're like, well, why is he saying that? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I really liked it. So I hope Victor Gischler, if you're listening to this for whatever reason, shout out to you, because these are the kind of stories I like, and they don't even have to be about my favorite characters. You know what I'm saying? Like you put a book really like this out, and I like it. But yeah, so the story starts concluding with this demon that was meeting Necrodamus coming up from the gates of hell, and Michael coming down from the gates of heaven, and meeting at the very end. And this dude's got a shit-eating grin on his face. And you know Necrodamus is lurking somewhere in the background. And shit's about to pop off, and we only got one more issue, unfortunately. You know, that's really my only complaint about this whole thing, besides the way Ghost Rider looks like a child in his shoulder pads, is that I feel like you could almost make this a 6-issue miniseries and still have, you know, it would be perfect. I hope it's just not a rushed ending is all I'm worried about, but I've enjoyed the first 4 issues so far. I think I've given them all buys, and this one I'm not varying from that at all. Like, I've just had a lot of fun with it. Ghost Rider, despite his small head, looks still cool on the cover and on the inside. Like, the action is always pretty cool. Their shit talking is cool. I just have a fun time reading it. Every time it comes out, it's like the first Marvel book I want to read. So, I don't know. I might be tempted to buy the trade just because it's a fun one to give to your friends too, that think Ghost Rider looks cool, and then you'd be like, oh, read this. This is, you know, a fun story. It reminds me a little of Constantine, the movie.
Yeah, it does.
But it's got enough differences that it's fresh. So I'm having a good time, and I'm sad it's going away. But I'll if this Victor dude's on another book coming up, I'm down for that, regardless of what it is, to check it out and see how that goes. What do you think?
I like I love heaven and hell stories like this. I really enjoyed it a lot. I agree with you going back that everything did come together in this issue, and all the questions that we had from the first issue, we got answers for in this issue. It was a good penultimate issue. I love that even though this story in this particular issue jumps from place to place and setting to setting, you never really get confused. Like everything's very clear. You know where you are. You know what you're seeing. He does a good job of balancing his characters and his story. Gischler, that is. David Baldion and Andreas Mosa they got some really beautiful layouts and character work. I love that when you see, like, when Lucifer's standing there on like that whatever the fuck, when he's standing there looking over in his army with Satana and Damon, if you zoom in, if you had a digital copy and you zoom in and look at Lucifer, he's got fucking such detail to him, and he's so small in that panel. You know what I mean? Like, if you looked at any other issue where a character was that small, there would be little to no detail to that character, and he has tons of detail, even like being an inch big on the page. Like, it's crazy. And Andreas Mosa is becoming one of my favorite colorists. Like, I love the color job he does in this book, and I love what he's doing in the first issue of Old Man Hawkeye, because he does the colors on that too. I do agree, Ghost Rider does look like a little kid inside that fucking thing with the gigantic shoulders. But yeah, I love it. I love it. It's definitely a buy to me. I do agree that I wish we could squeeze a 6th issue out of it, but that's me just wanting more of this book.
I know. Yeah, that's it's selfish reasons. Like I don't dock the book for it. I just hope like we don't. I'm always so leery of comic book endings because I feel like 80% of the comic books I read, no matter how much I like the series, end up with such a shit ending that I just feel like very unsatisfied with. And I understand the purpose is to keep them going, but when you got a mini series and stuff like this, like I want a nice concrete ending and just start a new story next time the characters are around. But yeah, like everyone's had their own part to play in the series, and I don't know, maybe Blade's been a little unrepresented, maybe not 100% necessary, but
I think
everyone else,
nothing much to do.
yeah, everybody else has like a pretty big role, and I've had a fun time getting to know everybody. Characters I wasn't real familiar with before, but we're done with that one. We've had a mixed week. I've been a borrow, a forget, and a buy so far, and Trevor's been a little more positive, a buy, a forget, and a buy. So Vengers is the final one, and there's not a lot. It's going to be a weekly book, so every issue isn't going to have a whole lot of developments, but we're going to tell you what went on this week real quick, 5-minute summary, and then our thoughts. But next week we're going to skip over it, and then it'll be back the week after. Again, we could probably sum up 2 issues in 10 minutes or less. So that's the way we'll do it. I don't know. This issue kicks off, and I would say probably the first half is dedicated to introducing that. I never remember her name. Voyager.
Yeah.
And she's got a double V name on top of it. Valerie
Vector. Valerie Vector.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. That's a very Marvel thing. But anyway, I don't know. You get introduced to this character, and everybody seems to remember her. The heroes. Yeah. Even though at one point she says when she gets vanished by that corny ass villain, like she was erased from memories. I don't know if that just means people forgot her as time went on or what, but and that came back when the Earth was moved. I'm not sure if they're playing it like a rebirth thing there or not. But I don't know. She really kind of comes off as kind of bland. Everybody just flat out loves her. There's not a bad word said about her, and she like they almost want
because
her
she's
to
like more
lead
of a
them right
legend.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she passes that duty off to, the current leaders. Then we get a flash of the villains introduced to, I guess you could call the villains. They seem to be sent here by what my guess would be is the Collector and the Grand Master having some sort of battle, possibly, or King. I don't know who plays with dudes like this other than Grandmaster and um, the Collector, but that was my initial thought when I saw the speech bubbles and them yelling at them for fighting too early. Um, and that I don't know. I like the Black Order. I don't know who the hell the Lethal Legion is, so I don't have feelings about them one way or the other. But I don't think the Black Order is necessarily the villains here. So they might be in and out, and it might just be a false seed there. I don't know, but they're a threat either way. Um, Especially based by the end of the issue when they make their selves known to the Avengers who have no eyes in the sky, don't know anything coming, and seemingly blow up the mansion with everybody in it, even Valerie Vector, Voyager. So, although my suspicion is she's the one that saves them, like puts them in some bubble, like she has time and space powers.
Portal
They
powers.
blatantly
Yeah.
allude to. So, um, that was this issue. I don't know. Did I miss anything, or was that a good 5-minute summary?
That's a good 5 minute summary. That was pretty good. Pretty good.
So I don't know. You want to share your thoughts first? I think you might be a little more
Yeah.
positive about it than me. I'm firmly in Barrow camp still right now.
I like that. I like that the origin of Voyager was not like they could have did it like she's been around all this time, but people forgot about her. Or she was around for like 400 out of the 700 issues of Avengers. People forgot about her, but instead they just took her up to like 1963. Like she was in 70
like
issues.
What, the first 70? Yeah.
Yeah. She was in 70 issues, and that's when she disappeared. So only like the base Avengers, like the original team with Wasp and everybody, and Giant Man and Hulk, and the second edition of the team with Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch and Cap. Those are the only people who really know her, and then everybody else like Falcon, Rogue, Human Torch, like they don't really know her per se. They just know of her, and that's why. And she hasn't been around for so long that's why they're like she's like a legend to them, and that's why they're all like love her so much, because they don't truly know her. They just know of her.
Right. It's like current
So
baseball
they
fans and Babe Ruth. It would be an analogy.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I'm saying?
Exactly. That's perfect. That's a perfect analogy right there. So yeah, that was pretty cool. She's been going for 65 years for us, but God knows how long it is in Marvel continuity. The action stuff was cool. I did enjoy the Black Order showing up and fighting with these other guys that I'm not too familiar with. I do like the design of Captain Glory, even though he just basically looks like a rendition of the Ray.
Yeah, the Ray looks cool though too.
He does look cool. It was weird seeing Black Swan there, but not. I know she like eventually joins up with those bad guys, but it's just because she was from another universe when the incursions were happening in Hickman's Avengers, and she like jumped off the planet and landed on Earth, and then the fucking Illuminati captured her and whatnot, and just prodded her for information. But whatever. So it was pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. It's a 16 issue story, so it's going to have like some slow moments. It was a little too much of the Avengers sitting around and arguing with each other over who's going to lead, how they're going to go about finding out what's going on. That did suck up a lot of the fucking issue. But all in all, I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I'm going to go with you on the Barrow thing. I mean, I did love Pepe Larraz and Dave
Trail's art does look good. The art looks great.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's gorgeous. And I did see that thing where she was talking about her origin, and when she got sucked away into that vortex or whatever, when her and the electromagnetic man's powers meshed, that she was wiped from time, and she did say memory. So I don't know what they're gonna like do about that, because beginning of the book towards the middle, like the middle of the beginning, kind of contradicts each other with everybody knowing who she is, than her saying that she's been wiped from memory. But But all in all, I enjoyed it for what it was. But it's a borrow. It'll get better. It's just picking
I
up
know
little.
that's where I'm at with you. Like it's turning out to be real a slow burn, which I guess get all your pieces into place slowly before the true action kicks off. But I don't think these guys are even the villains we're looking for. Like that hasn't been
I don't think so
revealed
either.
yet. The not cheesy cliffhanger. It's kind of a cool cliffhanger, but but not everybody's not dead. You know that off the bat.
I did love that cliffhanger.
So they go for kind of the cheesy, easy note off the bat. They're not going to kill the new character. They just introduced that issue. So that's why there's no tension in that. But anyway, I'm still going to read it, but I'm not telling everybody if you're on the fence about it to go out and buy it. It's not there yet. I want to really, I want to see how the Hulk comes back. And if it ends up being the collector and the Grandmaster, that kind of kills my vibe for it, because I'm not real big fan of the contest of champions shit and all that. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna withhold judgment until that's truly revealed to be what it is. So tune back in 2 weeks when we update you on that again, because next week, as we wrap things up here, and the books we're going to go over, I only have one choice for the Spider books. I was going to willingly do something other than Amazing this week, but there's no other option for me. So we'll do Spider-Man 794. And at least we're not dealing with Venom. We'll give you that spoiler alert, okay? It's not a Venom story. Amen to that. So
thank God.
Yes. Trevitt is having a soul-searching moment right now to decide his book of the week for next week. It's going to be between, for the IVX section, Inhuman Judgment Day, which seems to wrap up the Inhumans books for a bit of time, or possibly Legion #1. So if anybody wants to chime in on what you think Trevitt should do, let him know at TrevittTrev. Hero book, we're going to tune into the second issue of Marvel 2-in-1.
Hell yeah.
So the first issue was fun. So we'll see what's up for 2. And then we totally jumped the gun and thought Resurrection 4 was coming out this week. It did not. For whatever reason, this weekly series did not come out this week. It skipped a week and we'll conclude this week and next week and the week after, I think. So they 3 week in a row series with a break week and then 3 more, I think, is how it's rolling.
I think I know why they did it. Because this week will be 4, the following week will be 5, and then they'll have the Jean Grey solo series ending, and then X-Men Red's going to start the following. I think that's how it's going to go.
Okay. Yeah. So they got no more break weeks, just some straight Jean Grey scratch that itch stuff coming out the next at least month. So yeah, that's what next week looks like. And again, you guys are looking to get a hold of us, chime in. You want to hear us discuss maybe a quick 5-minute rundown of a book we haven't talked about. You know how to find us on Twitter at MadnessMarvel1, or hit Trevitt up at the Gmail account at MarvelMadness0@gmail.com. But we're going to sign out for this week, and we will talk to you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.